Hello everyone and welcome back to Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, where I'm assuming about to start day one of court, which I just realized we're not going to have a jury, so I'm interested to see how this is going to work. October 8th, 9:48 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 6. Good morning. So you're Vera, right? I'm Trucy Wright. That's right with a W, but not right? Yeah, that's a very understandable response. We're on your side. You can tell us anything. Please? Good morning. She speaks? Not bad. But I think you do better with a little smile, you know? You're so pretty, you need to sell yourself, you know? Trucy, let's take it easy for starters. Uh-oh. Thank you for taking my case. Okay, well, that's a start, I guess. There she goes with the nail polish again. That's great, really. It's so cultured. She looks so angry. Want to try? Oh, really? Girls. The victim, Drew Misham, was a forger, and a stolen painting was found in his studio. Life of crime, really. Maybe one that led to his death. 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 3. Well, we will now begin the trial of Vera Misham. Is the judge okay? His voice is all raspy and he's looking around all nervous like. The repercussions of today's trial will most likely be felt for a long time, and may indeed alter our legal system forever. Today is a test of the juris system, and the first step towards a new order in our courts. Daddy's secret mission. The jurors will function like a jury. It is hoped their inclusion will help the courts to better reflect the people's will. Why aren't there any jurists in the courtroom? 3 closed-circuit cameras watch this courtroom at all times. Ooh, that's gonna be important. The jurists have access to everything that transpires. Jurist, Judge, and Judge Cool. Judge Well and Judge Cool. Now see here, Prosecutor Gavin. I was going to say that. Yeah, totally believe that. Ah, my apologies there, Judge. Jurists today, judge today's trial coolly, if you'd be so kind. Jurists are unbound by the letter of the law. They don't affect the trial with evidence, but by their feelings. And we're about to find out just what effect they're going to have. Well, Prosecutor Gavin, the details of the case, if you would. The victim is the painter Drew Misham. He was killed in his own studio. His coffee was poisoned. By whom, you ask? By none other than the defendant, Vera Misham. There wasn't any poison in the coffee. Tongue, someone has been doing their homework. Indeed, the poison was not present in the coffee, but on the mug itself. The mug, residue was found on the rim, I see. The autopsy report describes the manner of our victim's death. The court accepts this as evidence. Misham's autopsy report added to the court record, okay. According to this report, the victim's death was caused by atroquinin poisoning. A chemical compound that does not occur naturally. Lethal dosage is a mere 0.002 milligrams. A touch of atroquinin in the body is the touch of the Reaper's scythe. Hey, well, Prosecutor Gavin, you may present your witness. I have for you today a simple man for a simple case. A man who witnessed the murder in its entirety. A journalist, no doubt. Oh, that guy. Alright, we're gonna start with him. I guess that makes sense. The witness will state his name and occupation. Right. Well, for starters, my name's Spark Brushel. My job is a lone observer of the world. In other words, a freelance journalist, right? If you don't mind, I'd like to state something here for the record. Yes, Mr. Brushel. I dislike conclusions, specifically the jumping to aspect of conclusions. Preconceptions mark park sandbox of endless desert waste. end quote. But you are a journalist. You said so yourself yesterday. Well, that's true, yes. But you must understand, I stand before you today, a man with a dream. I'm offering you my testimony in exchange for exclusive rights to this story. What? Scoop turns Mr. Brushel into that Mr. Brushel, end quote. Let's hear your testimony then, shall we? A simple case, eh, Gavin? For me, the jury is still out. Literally, they're out there outside the room. Had to be said. I visited the studio around 9 that night to do the interview. The first outsider to enter the atelier. Journalistic history made, end quote. His daughter brought us coffee right after we started. And you know what happened next? Star falls, end quote. No one else entered the room besides her the whole time. That does sound like a simple case, unless, you are the one who poisoned him. What are you saying, Judge? Need I remind you the cameras are rolling today? I felt the need to be a bit dramatic. That's fantastic. You didn't do it, did you? Me do a thing like that? Come on, that's like newsmaker making the news, end quote. Or even contemporary witch hunt, end quote. I know, wild accusations rock courtroom, end quote. Rock indeed. Prosecutor Gavin sure looks like he's having fun. I'm so happy for him. Very well, Mr. Justice, your cross-examination, please. All right. Hold it. 9 at night, isn't that a little late for an interview? If the great painter Drew Misham says come at 9, believe you me, I go at 9. The first and as it turned out last interview with such a prolific painter. Right, can you tell us about what it was like when you arrived? You were the first reporter ever in Drew's studio. Posterity will look back on that night as a turning point in journalistic history. A basically insignificant step for all mankind. That would be the headline. But a giant step for that Bushel guy, end quote. If no one on the outside ever had access to the studio, then it would serve to reason that the deed was done by an insider. By which means Vera did it. So how did this epic-making interview go? Okay. Would you mind being a little more specific? No, let me tell you, I enjoy it, compa. In fact, it all began when I was in 3rd grade. No, wait, 4th grade. That's not what I meant. I believe I know what Air Forehead is driving at. The coffee the victim served. Did anyone other than the defendant touch it? Right, that's what I was gonna say, really. Well, now, if you're gonna ask a question, you'd best straight up ask it. That's what I tell new recruits, several times if necessary. Right, for a grade schooler. It's probably fair. That's my motto. Which isn't to say I can only... Who touched the coffee? Dunno. I was in the back looking at the studio equipment when she served it. And what happened next? What's this about a star falling? Stars fall, huh? It's like an old telegram. Send money, over. Zowie, you don't know? That's like a journalism code word. An important personage passes away, a star falls, get it? But there's no gravity in space, is there? I wouldn't think stars could fall, really. Does this matter? Oh boy, this is good stuff, good stuff. How about star breaks? Nah, lacks punch. I know, star dies. Nah, lacks imagination. Of course, you could go with Drew dies, straight to the point. I like it. I think we need to hear about something a little more substantial. The moment of death, Bushel's coffee, or the star's coffee? I either want to know about the star's coffee or the moment of death. Tell me about the moment of death. About when Mr. Misham passed away. Oh boy, what a scene that was. He puts his coffee mug down with a crash, right? Yes, and then the cold finger of death touches his spine. Life's flame sputters and fails. So cold that was that touch, he could do naught but tremble uncontrollably. Actually, life's flame is a little tired. Life's river froze over. Yes, that's a go. I think he's starting his article already. Can you describe that a little more simply? Well, as you can imagine, I was pretty surprised. He hit the floor, as they say. Artist seizure is final performance. End quote. Atroquinin paralyzes the central nervous system. The body arcs back like a bow. The limbs tremble. The throat burns. It's quite enough of that. I thought you wanted courtroom drama. Some of us want to be able to sleep tonight. Oh yeah? Well, I want details. Lots of juicy details. For that, you can listen to our last year's hit single, Atroquinin, My Love, by the Governors, available at all major music outlets. I want that to be a thing. I want that CD. The point here is that the victim died of atroquinin poisoning. Well, Mr. Justice, how do you find the testimony? Ooh, I find that my gamepad is dying. I really should just know by now. Ooh, what did we get out of that? Well, as an account of the moment of the victim's death, I'd say it's very important. Please add it to the testimony. Very well, the court requests the witness to add this account to his testimony. Little spasms. That was definitely death by poison. Oh, I should have pressed that. Can you say that for sure? For sure, I'm sure. Drew Studio isn't a big place, kiddo. I'd know if someone else had come in. What if they'd been hiding in there from before? Even if someone had been hiding in the studio, they hardly could have poisoned that mug without anyone noticing. You think I, Spucky Brushel, would miss something as obvious as that? No way. He sure makes it sound exciting. I guess that's his job. There's only one moment we need to focus on, really. The moment when Drew Misham died. Exactly, there has to be something there. Alright, oh, I want to go back. Yep. Daughter brought us coffee. Press, okay. You say it was definitely death by poison. How can you be so sure? Hey, look, I'm a journalist. I've seen a lot of things. And I've had more than my share of experiences with so-called poisonings. Man eats fishy fish, goes bye-bye, end quote. Poisoning doesn't count. Should I get him to talk about something else? Oh, yeah, I want to know. Tell me about his coffee. You say Mr. Misham had the coffee too. But did you actually see him drink the coffee? Of course. Crap. He who sees it wins, but he who says it wins bigger. End quote. I live in a man sees dog eat dog and writes about it world. Yet. I guess I can't say I saw him drink it, really. He had one so-called sip, if that. Man puts lips to mug, drinks, end quote. That poison is quite virulent, I hear. My stomach did a so-called somersault. Since I gulped down that much coffee with so much as a second glance at it. Wait, maybe something's there. Some kind of so-called trick. Anyone want to venture a guess for the record? Does this guy have a pause button? Well, Mr. Justice, did you find that testimony valuable? Yes, actually. The victim drank his coffee, then immediately fell over? No, yes, you can go to press with that one. Your Honor, this is a vital piece of information. Please add it to the testimony. Okay. Very well, the witness will add this to his testimony. Vital, right. He had one sip, if that. The next moment he was on the floor. Oh, I want to press that, because we know that's not how that works. So he either took a sip or didn't, and then fell over. Oh yes, indubitably. Just like that, wham bam. So Mr. Misham drank the coffee and fell over immediately. I think Brushel's telling the truth, too. So should I get him to talk about something else? No. No need? Change the testimony. The problem with the testimony is already pretty obvious. Yeah, okay. So that's what we need. No one else entered the room besides her the whole time. No, go back. Do I have like a bottle of that poison? Because that's not how that works. Oh, we don't. What's in the autopsy report? Death by atroquinin poisoning. Estimated time of death 9 to 9:30. Oh wait, oh. Huh. Oh, wait. No, maybe I want to go with... Or do I want to go with the mug? Because, I get what they're driving at. The fact is, he couldn't have just drank that and then fallen over. Because they said it takes time to set in. So, do I want the autopsy report? Or the coffee? I think the mug. Traces of the slow acting. Yep, that convinced me. You know what I have a problem with? A particular property of the poison used, atroquinin. Prosecutor Gavin was quite clear about the poison. A lethal dosage of 0.002 milligrams paralyzes the central nervous system. If you drank that, even you, Mr. Justice, would be reduced to a quivering pile. Why are you using me as an example? Unfortunately, we weren't told everything. There's a vital omission in Prosecutor Gavin's information. An omission? Atroquinin is as virulent as he says. But death doesn't come upon ingestion, not immediately. That's because atroquinin is slow acting. Slow acting? Oh, what? According to one forensic scientist, it's one of the most virulent poisons, but it is absorbed into the body astonishingly slowly. It takes at least 15 minutes from the time of ingestion for adverse effects to show. There we go. If we suppose that the moment Mr. Misham sipped the coffee was when he sealed his fate, then he would still have had time left to enjoy his last cup of joe. It all comes back to coffee. Order! What is the meaning of this? If what the defense says is correct, why that contradicts the entire testimony we just heard? Not really. It doesn't. I think that's what really happened, but obviously something else happened before that. Wow, Mr. Bushel, anything to say on the record? Slow acting. SLOWACT. It was virulent, all right. Even then, it had already begun digging its claws into the journalist. He's working on his scoop. Wait, what? It's Brussel, yeah. Brussel. Let's take a trip back down memory lane. Huh? Did the victim really die the instant he took a sip? Think it over. This is vital. What? You can't just change that. You know what I think? I think that was a not-so-subliminal suggestion. End quote. Yeah. Oh, even Brushel's onto you, Gavin. I admit it does cause a problem if he died when you say he did. I would be forced to say off with dissent to my simple case. And you would be forced to say farewell to your article. What? Come, Judge! Hello? Objection. Yeah, come again? You can't write the story based on conjecture, can you? And as the case drags on, other reporters will pick up the scent. And you'll be forced to kiss your exclusive scoop goodbye. This is garbage. Scoop, scoop. What? Did he just brush his tongue? He's brushing his tongue. And his eyes? What? Next, please. Look, wait. Just wait a second. Just 1 second. We're waiting. Out with it. I think I just recalled a so-called important detail. A revival of recollection, end quote. A story survival, end quote. Attorney utterly confused, end quote. Actually, I did notice something when I visited the studio. I had heard of a poison that takes a sweet time, see? Yeah, but not what I've been saying for the last few minutes, apparently. Mr. Bushel, are you saying you noticed something that explains what happened? You bet I am. The antidote for a poisonous contradiction, end quote, you might say. Or, I still have no idea what you're talking about, end quote, I might say. I figured it out, but only after an in-depth interview. See, thanks to my journalism skills, I know who poisoned that coffee. Order! As far as I can tell, the witness is standing by his testimony. That Mr. Misham died after he drank. Of course I'm standing by my testimony. And my dream of exclusive rights to this story. Duck, I suppose it was too much to hope for. What was? Of course he wouldn't choose a simple case, not him. Phoenix gotcha. Him? If Phoenix right, who else? Octung Air Bushel, report for us if you would. What is it that you noticed? This court is a critical trial of the juris system. I'm afraid no room for doubt is permissible. You will testify to the court about what you've noticed. Alright. I think we have time for this. We'll at least hear his testimony. When I arrived at the studio, Mr. Misham was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. I thought nothing of it at the time, of course. Now that I think about it, what if he was writing a suicide note? A suicide note? Yes, he had this look on his face. Man's face inscrutable as quadratic equation, end quote. Suicide, poor Mr. Misham. But that means Vera's innocent. Would someone commit suicide in the middle of an interview? Oh. Very well, you may begin your cross-examination. Alright, let's see. We'll see what we can get through. We might do slightly what Bushel noticed. Slightly longer episode. Was there anyone at the studio other than Mr. Misham? Well, his daughter Vera, of course. Was anyone besides Mr. Misham and Vera present? Not a single one. Not a cat, not a rat, not even a mouse. The only person who didn't belong at the studio there was you, wasn't it, Mr. Bushel? I know what you're thinking. I know what you're doing. I know your game. Attorney uses classic Ramsden phenomenon ploy, end quote. If you intend to suggest that this reporter is a suspect, I'm sure you also intend to present evidence supporting that assertion, correct? In the meantime, let's move along, shall we? Okay. So he put the letter away when he saw you. Early reporter gets worm, end quote. That's my secret. Sure, I follow. It's the night of the interview. I arrive 15 minutes ahead of schedule. The handle turns, the door opens, and I barge in. Are you sure that's okay to do? I mean, isn't that unlawful entry, really? Mr. Misham sure seemed to think so. You should have seen him. He crammed his letter into that yellow envelope as fast as he could. I know a secret when I spot one, and that was one. It does seem significant. Well, Mr. Justice, I wonder. It does have the ring of something important. Add it. The defense finds this testimony vital, Your Honor. Very well, please add it to the testimony then. Hey, why not? My account comes free of charge. It was left at the crime scene. And you saw him seal this yellow envelope with the letter. Hey, don't look at me like that. I saw what I saw. Apollo, you think this might be our big break? Yeah. What I need is to show some decisive evidence right now. Ooh, I got it. Where is it? It's a red envelope. Ha! As it just so happens, there was a single letter in a desk drawer at the scene. In a red envelope. What? Prosecutor Gavin. Yes. Was a yellow envelope found at the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, no, but forehead. It's easy to mistake the color of an envelope. I guess, but not this envelope. You see, it was postmarked already, 7 years ago. Well, Mr. Brushel, I can explain that. Drew, right, he wanted to get that letter in an envelope pronto. Get it out of sight of my beady eyes, right? So he grabbed the nearest envelope and crammed it away. What about the whole red and yellow envelope contradiction, chump? Well, Mr. Justice, do you have anything to say to the witness's claim? That night, the victim put the letter he'd been writing in a red envelope. No, because it was sealed. That's impossible. That's impossible. I like your expression. They're so full of confidence. It's simple, really. As it just so happens, the defense team investigated the contents of this envelope with the assistance of a forensic scientist. Ew, what? Note that this letter is addressed to Drew Misham. Oh, that too. I guess it had been opened already. No. Why would he address a letter to himself? Let alone send a suicide note to himself. I've been scooped. Order, order, order. Mr. Bushel, can you explain this to the court? Oh my, how could I have forgotten? I suppose this happens to the best of us. Reporter gets old, forgets lots, end quote. I'm still waiting for an explanation, Mr. Bushel. Oh, well, that's the thing, see, after he put this letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. His desk drawer? Yes, a stamp, a so-called postage stamp, end quote. Stamp whatever for? Well, to mail his letter, what else? And then, why, yes, I think I saw him put it in his letterbox. Yes, it was a yellow envelope, and he put it in that box. Well, apparently this yellow letter has nothing to do with the case. Oh, how I wish it did. Just think if that were a suicide note, what a story. Star writes suicide note in front of reporter, falls, end quote. As I was saying, that has nothing to do with this case. That said, yes, Your Honor? It makes me wonder about the contents of that red envelope. Yep. $100,000 is quite a good deal of money. So this was from 7 years ago, yeah? So am I finished? Am I finished here? I was thinking of, going home to start writing. Nope. I hate to say it, which should be pretty obvious to anyone, but when you catch the scent of a story, you make that a rather unique face. Ah, come on. Attorney has active imagination, little else, end quote. Even I noticed something in my eyes aren't what they used to be. I'm starting to understand what all this perceiving stuff is about. Judge has active imagination, end quote. Please continue with your testimony, and we'll just have to hear that testimony in the next episode. All right, so we got some good breaks. Obviously I kind of started this off thinking it was Brushel, but I definitely don't think that at the moment. I really hope it's not Volant, but I'm really excited to see how this is all tied together. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.